Hi, travel agents. Thank you all for joining us once again. My name is Cindy, and I'll be your host for today. So, today we have a very exciting webinar with Kennedy Space Center. And before we get started, I just want to go over some housekeeping rules. So, as always, if you have any questions, please drop in the Q&A box below, and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Today's webinar is going to be very short and sweet. So, if you have any questions, make sure to drop in the box right away. And with that being said, we're also giving away two Candy Space tickets. So to qualify, make sure you stay till the end of the webinar and I will pick a winner offline and the winner will be emailed sometime next week. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce our lovely presenter, TJ. Hi, TJ. How are you doing today?
How we doing? I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure the agents are very excited to hear what you have to present. So please go right ahead.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kennedy Space Center, a hub for science and space exploration and the home to every manned space flight in U.S. history. I'm TJ Blake, your global sales manager, and I'll be walking you through a day at the Kennedy Space Center. Perfect. So, welcome to the Kennedy Space Center. One of the first things that I like to mention about the Kennedy Space Center or a day at the Kennedy Space Center is that we have a lot to see. Most people think that you can get it done in 3 or 4 hours, and that's just not true. We are a full day experience, and if you want to see everything that we have to offer, you might need to. So, we recommend that you arrive at 9 a.m. to start your day in space early. Upon arrival, one of the first things we recommend you do at the Kennedy Space Center is take our complimentary bus tour. Our complimentary bus tour takes you around NASA's facilities, including the VAB, where NASA assembles the rockets, happens to be one of the largest buildings in the world by volume. And it also brings you to our newest attraction, the gantry at LC-39. The gantry at LC-39 offers a unique perspective into the history of the space program. It offers a panoramic view of NASA's historic launch pads. We have a four-story tower where on the top floor you can build virtual rockets and test them. On the third floor, we have binoculars to get you a close-up view of those historic launch pads. And on the first floor, we have a full-size model rocket that goes off every 30 minutes, giving an awesome photo op. The second stop on our complimentary bus tour is going to be our Apollo Saturn V Center, where you're going to get to go into the firing room and relive the moments where we first sent man to the moon. After you experience those moments, we're going to send you into the Apollo Saturn V Center where you're going to see a real Apollo Saturn V rocket that was built to go to the moon. I'm always so inspired every time I get to see the rocket because it's a large machine made of over 1 million pieces, designed by over 1,000 people. And we were able to put men in that, send them to the moon, and make it back home. I always think that's so awe-inspiring. More that we have to offer in the Apollo Saturn V Center is our Path to the Moon exhibit, our Moonscape exhibit, and our Explore the Moon exhibit. All interactive exhibits to teach you a little bit more about the Apollo space program. We also have the Lunar Theater, where you get to relive the moments where man first stepped on the moon. We have our Ad Astra, where we get to pay tribute to the fallen astronauts of Apollo 1, and the Moon Tree Garden, where we have 12 trees that were grown from seeds that went to the moon. The 12 trees represent the 12 men that actually stepped foot on the moon. After our complimentary bus tour, where you get to see our newest attraction, the Gantry at LC-39, and the Apollo Saturn V Center, you're going to arrive back at our main complex. And the first attraction that you're going to see when you arrive back at our main complex is going to be our Space Shuttle Atlantis exhibit. This is the real Space Shuttle Atlantis on display, the real Space Shuttle Atlantis that flew 33 missions into space. Alongside our Space Shuttle Atlantis, we have a full-size mock-up of the Hubble telescope and the International Space Station. The International Space Station and the Hubble telescope are displayed along with the Space Shuttle Atlantis because the Space Shuttle program was instrumental in building these space assets. More in our Space Shuttle Atlantis exhibit, we have Forever Remembered, a tribute to the fallen astronauts of Challenger and Columbia. We also have more astronaut simulators. I'm going to slow it down a little bit here to talk about one of my favorite attractions in the park. We have our Space Shuttle launch experience. It simulates sitting in a space shuttle and flying into space. So the anecdote I like to tell about this attraction is that here at the Space Center, frequently we get to visit with astronauts. Every astronaut that I've ever spoken to lets me know that they've spent thousands of hours training in simulators before they ever get to go to space. And they always let me know that the shuttle launch experience is the most realistic simulator that they ever experienced. So short of paying Mr. Jeff Bezos $1 million and actually getting to go to space, this is the closest that you're going to get to experiencing it. More of our immersive experiences here at the Kennedy Space Center include our IMAX theater, where we have several showings per day. We have Planet Play, which is an indoor air-conditioned playground where you can tell your kids to kick their shoes off and go run around Saturn's rings. Where else in the world can you do that? Nowhere but the Kennedy Space Center. We also have our Hyperdeck VR experience, where you work together with a team to complete a virtual task. One of our next major attractions is our Gateway Deep Space Launch Complex. So we talked about the Apollo Saturn V Center and we talked about the Space Shuttle program. Those are more of the history of our space program. Well, the Gateway Deep Space Launch Complex is the future of our space program. When you first walk into the Gateway Deep Space Launch Complex, you're going to see one of Elon Musk's Falcon 9 rockets. I know you all seen one of those. Those are the ones that launch up and then they fly themselves back down and land on a ship in the ocean. We also have another immersive VR experience, the New Shepard Flight Simulator, and yet another immersive simulator, our Spaceport KSC. The simulator that we talked about previously was the shuttle launch experience that launches you into space. Spaceport KSC is going to launch you into deep space. It's a great experience. Some more of our immersive experiences here at the Kennedy Space Center are going to be our astronaut encounter, which is a theater program where the astronaut gives a presentation, and at the end, you get a chance to raise your hand and ask questions. We also have our Matter of Fact show, where our STEAM team does live experiments for our guests. More to see at the Kennedy Space Center. We have a life-size mock-up of the Mars rover that NASA plans on using when we go to Mars in the near future. We also have our Heroes and Legends exhibit, where we get to learn about the inspiration that it took to build our space program. And of course, our U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame, where we get to honor all of our esteemed astronauts. We have our Space Memorial Gallery, where we can pay tribute to all of our fallen astronauts. We have our Journey to Mars exhibit, where we can learn a little bit more about the future Mars missions. And of course, our Rocket Garden. Where else in the world can you go and see that many life-size rockets? Nowhere else but the Kennedy Space Center. So we've talked about all of the things that are included with our admission. Now I want to tell you guys about a few things that can enhance your experience at the Kennedy Space Center. We have a program called Chat with an Astronaut, which is pretty similar to the astronaut experience that I told you about earlier. The difference is the Chat with an Astronaut experience is a bit more intimate. It's a smaller room capped at about 40 people where you'll get to sit down, have a meal, have drinks, and again, ask the astronaut your deepest, darkest questions. We also have our astronaut training experience, where the next generation of space explorers can prepare for deep space travel, and our Mars Base One, where our future explorers can live and work for a day on Mars. We also have our astronaut training stages where you can purchase individual stages of the astronaut training. And we have our KSC Explore Tour. Again, similar to the general admission bus tour that I told you about earlier, except this one's a little bit more in depth. This one brings you up to those historic NASA launch pads. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me looking at a day at the Kennedy Space Center. If you would like to book Kennedy Space Center tickets for your clients, please feel free to contact one of our receptive tour operators.
Awesome.
If you
Thanks
have
for
any
that.
questions,
Oh, go
if you
ahead.
have any questions, please feel free to contact me directly. Here's my email. Again, my name is TJ Blake. I'm your global sales manager, and I want to thank you guys for coming to the Kennedy Space Center.
Awesome. Thanks, TJ, for that short and sweet presentation. I love any movies related to space, so I definitely need to visit one day.
Definitely. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. All right, agents, if you have any questions, please drop in the Q&A box and we'll get right to it. So we have Nicole here. She was just asking for your email. So Nicole, there it is on the screen. You can contact TJ directly. And then we also have Laura here. Laura wants to know, are there any residence rates coming soon?
Resident rates.
I guess, yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe a discount for people who live in Orlando or?
We do have a promotion goes out for Florida residents, but it's only at a certain time of the year and it's already passed for this year.
Okay, awesome. And then we have Norma. She commented she actually met you in Toronto. And how far in advance is the pre-booking for the events?
The pre-booking for which events?
Norma, if you want to type that in the comments, what event are you asking about? All right, while we wait for Norma, I do want to ask, what transportations are available from Orlando or any surrounding areas to the Kennedy Space Center?
So one of our receptive tour operators, Gray Line, offers busing down to the Kennedy Space Center from several spots in Orlando.
Awesome. And you said if agents want to book for the clients, they can just email you guys or
They can contact one of our receptive tour operators. Let me go back to the list. There we are.
awesome. Take a screenshot of this agent so you can contact. And Norma said, meeting the astronauts. Is there any pre-booking prior to that?
Yes. So for the, I'm sorry, for the chat with an astronaut experience,
Yeah.
it is capped at 40 people daily. There are two showings each day, one at 11 a.m. and one at 2 p.m. Usually the one in the morning is open, and we do recommend that you pre-book it.
Awesome. Well, looks like that is all the questions we have for now. And before we sign off, TJ, do you have any last minute encouraging words on why the agents should book their clients to go visit?
This year we actually won TripAdvisor's award for the number one attraction in America and the number three attraction in the world.
Oh,
So
wow,
that's a
that's
great
awesome.
sell for your clients.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, amazing. Well, again, TJ, thank you for this short and sweet presentation. And thank you, agents, for joining us as well. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day and happy holidays as well. Thanks, everyone. Bye.